Basically there are 4 legs to a circuit, which is usually an oblong shape. You turn left or right depending on whether you're doing a left hand circuit or a right hand circuit after takeoff at approximately circuit height, which is generally about 1,000 feet. This is the crosswind leg. Then you turn onto your downwind leg, which is parallel to the runway, usually a wingspan away. Then at the end of the downwind you do a turn onto your base leg, and then you turn onto your finals. A rule of thumb is for making your turns, when you look over your right or left shoulder, that's where you want the end of the runway to be when you make your turn, to have the runway over your left or right hand shoulder. You're looking for 45 degrees because it gives you more visual lookout for more traffic. Also 45 degrees in front of you to the left or right when you're coming in for finals. You want to look 45 degrees left or right to see if there's any traffic down there. And here is a picture of a Blackpool Airport taken from the air. An aerial photograph, in other words. This is what you'll see when you open the flight simulator. You'll see the world map in the top middle. So you double click on that and that will take you to this map here. Then you actually change the aircraft. I've got it set as an A320. I'm now changing it to the Cessna 182RG, which is there. When you're back here and it says from, select departure, select Blackpool Airport, EGNH, and then when you want to select arrival, again select Blackpool Airport, runway 28, and there we are. We've selected Blackpool Airport and we're on runway 28. And then when you're ready, you press ready to fly down here on the right hand side, down the bottom, and there we are on the actual runway, ready for takeoff. This essentially is a little nav map which is downloadable for free. It's a moving map and it's very, very useful, and you can see by the little yellow airplane we're now sitting at Blackpool Airport. One thing you will need to do here is to set the CDI on the heading indicator to 277 degrees, because that's the heading you want for the ILS approach. This is the Garmin GNS 430/530 from working title, which is downloadable from the marketplace for free. If when you open the flight simulator and the actual Garmin is switched off, down on the right hand side you'll see a button that says push, CRSH I think. You just push on that and that turns it on. Also that push button you can also, or knob rather, you can use that for scrolling up and down in the actual Garmin. You put the mouse on that and you see up or down arrows and you just go up or down with that. It'll make sense when you see it. Press this button here, which is direct to, and you'll see EGNH is flashing. That's the airport you need, which is Blackpool. So you can just enter that and then activate it. Enter again. Then you go down to procedures, down the bottom, PROC, and you'll see select approach. Then enter that to select the approach. And then enter the ILS 28, because that's the 28 runway on the ILS that you'll be landing onto. And then you come down from vectors down to BPL, enter that. Activate that, load it. Enter, there you go. And this GPS guidance, not sure what that means, but I just press yes anyway and it works. Now you'll see that the actual frequency has changed to 108.15 up on the left hand side under VLOC. Then what you do is you go down here to CDI and change it from whatever it's on to VLOC. You want to be on VLOC, not GPS, VLOC. These two buttons are marked range RNG, up and down arrows, and it gives you the capability of zooming in and out on the map on the GPS. We have now applied full power and we're rolling down the runway for our takeoff roll. We're now around about at the takeoff speed, about 65 knots, and we're now airborne. And we're climbing around about 500, 600, 700 feet a minute once it settles down. It will settle down to a normal climb any minute now. This is me pulling the yoke too much, I think. I'm setting the autopilot to level out at 1,000 feet. And I also will set the direction indicator to make a 90-degree right hand turn. And we're going into the turn now. In fact, it's probably more than 90 degrees. The heading bug is the little yellow thing on the right hand side on the direction indicator. There, we're leveling out at that. We've leveled out on that heading now. And fairly soon we'll be turning another 90-degree turn east onto the actual downwind leg. There's the pleasure beach down below you, and there's a tower in front of you on the right hand side. We're now making our turn onto an easterly heading to get us onto the downwind leg. We're turning in between Blackpool Tower and the pleasure beach. We're presently at 152 knots, and I'll be slowing down very shortly actually, because that's far too fast for a circuit. And this is little nav map again. We are now on our downwind leg, and we will now do our bump pitch checks. B for brakes off, U for undercarriage down and locked, M is for mixture on rich, P for pitch, that's propeller to be put back to fine, F is for fuel sufficient for go around and on fullest tank, I is for instruments reading in the green and good, and also the QFE dialed in for the airfield. C for carb heat, but make sure it's off for finals because you need full power for go around. H is for hatches and harnesses to be secured. On the downwind leg, remember aviate. Level out at the correct speed for the circuit, which is about 1,000 feet. Check your speed, check your altitude, watch out for traffic, and check your radio frequency. And also check the wind to see where the wind's coming from. Initially, when we finished our climb out, I did actually pull the throttle back so we could be flying at a sensible speed for the actual circuit. Down on the right hand side you can see the green ILS arc which comes out from runway 28. Pretty shortly we will be turning on to base leg where we'll be flying towards an intercept for the ILS. The ILS is the instrument landing system. I actually have just put back the carb heat to off now so I don't forget on finals, but basically you should do the check on finals anyway. It's part of the pre-landing check to turn the carb heat back off again. I have my keys on the number pad set to look left and look right. The 4 looks to the right because that's to the left because that's got the left arrow on it, and the 6 looks to the right because that's got the right arrow on it, and then the other keys are set for views of the actual instrument panel at different stages. I've just put the heading bug about 90 degrees to our right in order to turn onto our base leg where we'll be flying towards an intercept of the ILS. So you'll now see we're flying towards the sort of the green arc that comes out from the runway 28. On base leg, power about 1500 for a nice rate of descent. Check for other traffic. Second stage of flaps because your first stage is probably put down during the downwind leg. Dial more or less in the middle, which has got the yellow horizontal line at the top. When that horizontal line starts coming in towards the middle of that dial, it means that we're intercepting the ILS for runway 28. You'll see it starts moving fairly soon. And you'll see that yellow line is now starting to move down to the middle of the dial, which means we're actually intercepting the ILS for runway 28. And when the vertical line starts moving in towards the top of that dial, you'll see that we're on the actual ILS. And here is a bit of bad airmanship. I forgot to set the actual frequency in my nav radio on the actual panel, so it should be on 10815. There's Wharton Airfield on our left hand side. That's BAE, British Aerospace. And you'll see also when the horizontal line on the direction indicator starts moving downwards, we're then on the glide slope, which is normally about a 3-degree angle, something like about 350 to 500 feet a minute. There we are, the vertical line has moved onto the heading for that ILS approach. We're now on the descent, which means we've intercepted the glide slope, and we're now descending at about 500 feet per minute. Pre-landing checks are brakes off and functioning, gear down and locked, flaps are set, fuel pump is on and not set on the auxiliary, altimeter is on QFE, radio is on the correct frequency, and we are cleared to land. The correct runway. We're now down at about 700 feet. Still descending, obviously. Look down towards the end of the runway when you're landing. The far end, that is. And keep an eye on this end as well. You're just making a visual check to make sure there's no one else on the runway taxiing on or taking off. We are a few hundred feet above the runway, coming down quite nicely. Speed is good. Now begin the round out, start pulling the nose backwards, and I was taught to say, I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to let you, I'm not going to let you. Keep pulling the nose and just let it settle down onto the main wheels. You're keeping the nose wheel off the ground as long as you can, because that's where the weight is with the engine. And the next thing we'll do is exit the runway to the right. And when we do come to a stop, we can put the flaps back up, because flaps can be damaged during taxi with bits of debris flying up into the flap holes. There we are, we've stopped. Welcome to Blackpool.